Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today, your pushback channel. And thank you for joining us. Radio, audio, no pictures, live stream. Listen to this in your truck, your car, or public transport as you're going to work or getting around. In this essay, I'd like to talk about lawfare. Now, the globalists have really amped up the lawfare assault on Western society, and we need to understand the many and varied ways that they employ and use this lawfare, and how it's supported at all levels by Western governments, who are, of course, all controlled by the globalists, by all sorts of NGOs, human rights commissions, activist groups of all sorts that are all very well funded and seem to have plenty of time to micro sort through anything that may be viewed as even a small town somewhere who's not sufficiently on board with the woke and agenda and this sort of thing, and then using lawfare to force them, forcing elected officials or any group or organisation, forcing them to adopt woke ideology. And if you don't have woke ideology running all through your organisation, then they'll come after you and they'll use harassment of all sorts to get at you. So I just want to talk about that because it's reached, I think, crescendo proportions now, and it's a way that woke can be installed everywhere without the government saying that they're doing it. So it can appear that the government is not involved, or there's no legislation, no one's voting for this. It's being forced on people. So let's have a look at the methods. Now, here's a small town in the middle of nowhere. It's really a village. It's got a population of, I think, about 1,000 people. So it's in the middle of nowhere. And they've got a small sort of village government, like a local town village government, I guess the mayor and a few councillors, that sort of thing. And they don't have very big budgets, so it's not like they got a lot of money to throw around. Far from it. I think the annual payment for a councillor is really just an attendance fee. It's an honorarium, for goodness sake. They're paid something like $500 a month, and I think they've got to meet once a fortnight. So I think the meetings are about 4 hours. So they're paid about $250 a meeting, something like that. So this is a public service. These people are not getting rich out of it, and they're usually local business people. The local bank manager, the local guy who owns the waste disposal company, like the local business people. So anyway, there's an agitator, an installed agitator, and this is how the sequence works. So this town has never had any LGBTQ policies. There's no flags in the schools. There's no rainbow flag over the council chambers. There's nothing. They're just a small town in the middle of nowhere, going about their business, minding their own business. So someone arrives from out of town and supposedly becomes a resident, but they're actually not out of town. They're not a resident. They're a paid agitator. That's their job. They're an agitator. They don't seem to do anything, but they're on a salary, but it's a salary paid by an NGO. So they appear in the town. Then they put up a proposal to the council to say, well, look, I'm gay, or I'm this, or I'm that, or whatever. I'm a climate change, pro climate change. Why does the council not have a climate change policy? Why do you not have rainbow flags flying from the council? Why is there no rainbow crosswalk in the main street of the village? I'm gay, and you're discriminating against me. In fact, there's no rainbow crosswalk means that my human rights are not being observed. And so they'll make this absurd case, the council, being a council, and they go, okay, well, we'll put it to a vote of the councillors then. It's a transparent democratic process. The councillors are elected. They're having a democratic vote in the council chambers that anybody can view and watch. And so the councillors vote that they're not going to spend any money on LGBTQ activism. So there's going to be no rainbow flags and no. They're not going to hire an LGBTQ, propagandist to come in and train the council workers on how evil straight people are. They're not going to spend any money on that. Money is spent on things that it's supposed to be spent on, by the way, on fixing potholes in the road and upkeep of council buildings, making sure the school buildings are properly maintained. This is the job of these people. So anyway, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing as representatives of the local community, elected representatives of the local community. But the agitator goes, well, no, it's my human rights. You voted against having a rainbow flag and you voted against a rainbow crosswalk. So I'm going to... Now, they can't, because of it's a small town in the middle of nowhere, it's not a big city government where they can go to the local, the local activist, local government with the activist prosecutors and activists, judges and all this sort of, and they say, go get those guys, which they can do in the bigger cities, but out here in the middle of nowhere, they can't. So they go to a human rights body. I think it's the Human Rights Commission or Human Rights Authority or whatever it's called in this area. And they say, okay, well, I'm a... now, the person doesn't have to, there's no, so when did you move into the area? You mean you move into the area as an activist, a well-known activist, and within days of arriving, you're petitioning the council? I mean, hold on, this is a setup. The whole thing is obviously a setup here, but no one's asking those questions. No one's interested. It's all very choreographed and organized. They go to the Human Rights Commission. They're paid by an NGO. So the NGO is supplying the money here. Why is the money not followed? Excuse me, Mr. Smith, the LGBTQ activist. How are you living? Where's your money coming? Who's paying that? Well, gee, this NGO is an NGO that promotes LGBTQ activism and promotes lawfare to achieve these objectives that you otherwise can't achieve democratically. So why should we listen to this? Why should this is a bullshit case. The whole thing is activist bullshit. But no one's asking that. No one's pushing back. So again, a choreographed, prearranged thing, the Human Rights Authority agrees to take up the case. Now, they've already agreed. The whole thing's been prearranged. The activist going to that village, they stir up trouble. They then supposedly get petitions and this, that, and the next thing, but no one asks are the petitions in that local democratic area. They're not. The petitions are all from big cities hundreds of miles away. They're not from this. So why is that used as evidence that there's oppression and wickedness? So the human rights body takes it. Now, this is a small town. They don't have any full-time lawyers or legal departments or budgets for litigation and lawfare. They're not in. I mean, if you look at their annual town budget, it's the whole council's annual as in the council's, the whole council's annual salaries and payments and so on. It doesn't even come to what, $50,000 or $60,000. I think it comes to not like the gazillions that get spent in the big cities. So they've got no money for this. So suddenly they're being attacked from all sides by taxpayer-funded or NGO-funded lawyers, and they're going to be dragged. Now they know they're going to be dragged into court in the bigger city, where they're probably going to get an activist judge that's going to judge against them. So what do? Do they fight it and spend? The council would have to borrow money to fight the case legally. So they've got to borrow that, which means they've got to increase the rates to cover the cost of the litigation. Or do they just cave in and say, well, what do you want? Well, what do we have to do? Now, on top of that, these LGBTQ activists are saying, well, not only do you have to put rainbow crosswalks in and fly rainbow flags and have an LGBTQ policy, and we want an LGBTQ parade down the main street on the following days. And don't worry, we'll bust plenty of people in to go in the parade. We'll take care of that. Don't you worry about that. But put it on. We want posters everywhere. We want this. We want that. We want LGBTQ activism and propaganda put into your schools. We want the whole thing. And if you don't, we'll bankrupt the council with legal lawfare harassment. Now, no one's stopping this. Now, you'd think any government worth two shits would move in. Hey, activists, don't think you're going to shake down some town who's minding their own business with this sort of bullshit, this prearranged, choreographed, set up, stage managed bullshit, intimidation bullshit. But this is what's going on, and this is not happening just sort of here and there. It's happening all over the place, and it's the way they use to get into small towns, rural areas, and parts of the city. Anyone that doesn't go along with it is attacked from all sides with this lawfare. Now, again, the council can't afford the lawfare, and they've got to put in all the LGBTQ, and they've got to pay fines, and they've hurt the hurt feelings of the gay lesbian community and this sort of thing, which is absolute bullshit. It's just a reminder of, hey, we're fucking in charge around here, straight white folks. We decide what the fuck you do, and we decide what you will and won't do. We decide, and bow down before us, you motherfucker. This is really what's going on here, aided and abetted by the globalist machine, by the federal government. And so, because of the good work, now this particular gay lesbian outfit that's doing this activism, at any one time, I did a little bit of research. At any one time, they've got like 6, 7, 8 legal cases running at any one time, and they are funded by an NGO that is handsomely funded by the federal government, and they're a tax. They're supposed to be a charity. Taxes. Nothing of the sort. They're not a fucking charity. They're just doing lawfare activism at the behest of the globalist machine, because this degrades and undermines, breaks the confidence, and really turns these councils into a terrified sort of rubber stamp for whatever the activists want. You don't do what we want, we will sue you into fucking oblivion, and we'll make something up. We don't need a reason. You don't have to break the law or anything. You just don't do what we want you to do. That's enough, and we'll come after you. That's how bad it is. Now, let's suppose you're dealing with a cashed up company, and the president of the company or the CEO, you've tried to intimidate him. He goes, "Yeah, fuck you. I've got 50 lawyers on payroll. You want to take me on? Fine. See you in court." Now, they have to take a different view. They can't slap those people around. If you've got and it could be someone as rich as, say, an Elon Musk. But look how rich Donald Trump is, and look how all the resources of the state, all the resources of the globalist deep state are being used to go after him. And even a man as rich and as well equipped to deal with these things as he is still having to fight a toe-to-toe battle with them. Musk is richer again by a decent degree of magnitude, and he's harder to slap around. But they've got numerous cases against Musk fighting, and he's fighting, and he can probably fight them as in the financial means. He can probably fight them more easily than anyone else on the planet could. But it's not stopping them. All the taxpayer-funded NGO resources that they can muster are going after Musk for anything. I mean, they can, again, you don't need to have committed a crime or anything. You just need to say you've offended them in some way. That's enough. Then they'll come after you. So, say it's a company or well cashed up company. What they try a different tactic. What they'll do is they'll get somebody hired into the company, and it's a big company. They're hiring people all the time, so they'll get someone hired into the company. Maybe they've bribed HR officials or something. It doesn't matter, but they'll make sure they get someone into the company that's got, is I don't know, an LGBTQ activist from another solar system or something. It doesn't matter, but just so they'll get them in there. Then they can say that they've been oppressed or somehow shortchanged in. I feel unwelcome. It doesn't, and then they can go to a human rights commission, and suddenly you've got not necessarily a legal case that's going to bankrupt the company, but you've got some serious bad publicity. This is all coordinated with the media of, black lesbian oppressed by evil corporation. Suddenly it's all across the media, and it's wall to wall. Again, all prearranged, choreographed, stage managed. It's prearranged propaganda to try and humiliate and degrade the organisation, just to embarrass them publicly. So they think, holy fuck, what do we have to do to make these people go away? We've got to fly some gay flags. We've got to have a gay lesbian propagandist run around and hold information session. Fine, okay, just give them what they want. Just just stop the harassment, for fuck's sake. But this is something we really need to address. These people that are doing this harassment must be opposed, and vigorously so. And if they want to make other people's life as miserable as they do, and they do, then it's time that there were some mechanisms in place to make their lives miserable, just as miserable as they want to inflict on others. Being with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.